Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody? Happy Saturday. Hope you're well. Okay, so we got gold back to 23.85 on its way back to on its way back to 2,500. So I think the U.S. shot its quad, taking it down 100. But it's amazing how few people actually get what's going on. They don't understand that the gold price, silver price is just pure fantasy. It's just derivatives. It's not supply and demand. It's not free market. It's the government playing around, basically the banks playing around, making money on the derivatives. Oh, it goes up, we'll short it. It goes down, we'll buy it. So that's why you really have no fear of it, like going back to 2000 or 2200 or 2300, because it's being bought up by the Chinese and the Indians and Saudis and the BRICS countries basically are buying it when it's low. So they're letting it go low and then they get it at a cheaper price and then it shoots up. And then the US wants it to go up because they're playing a call derivative, which a call option is call up. So when it goes to 2480, they do a put option. They sell it and want the price to go down and they can buy it cheaper. But when it gets to a low point, and now here come the buyers because they know what's going on. They're letting, okay, let the price go down and then we'll buy it. We'll buy it cheaper. They're willing to buy it at all the way to 3,000 at least, and probably 5 or 10. Again, it's the only way out, and of course you're going to buy it. You don't care what the price is. You want to own gold. That's been my whole thesis: is we want to just buy it. We want to own it. We don't care the price. There's no price averaging. This isn't a stock. This is more of a Rolex what we're buying, and there's no. You don't income average like a Rolex or a Mantle card. You're just happy to get it. Okay, I got a Rolex. You don't care what you paid for it. You know it's going to go up in value. And that's what gold will do. Hopefully, though, in a free market and not in a government-controlled or bank-controlled prices. I'm not even sure how much it is. They do want a cheaper price for fear of the dollar. I don't understand that, but they do want a cheaper price. But at the end of the day, they're just paying. They're monkeying around playing derivatives. Price is high. We put option it and we sell it and want it to go down. And when the price goes down, we buy it and want it to go up and we sell it. So now they bought it at 23.50. They'll sell it at 24.50. So you have no fear that it's gonna drop because it's not. There's no market. This is not free market, and therefore nobody. If you realize it, nobody's selling, and that's why I'm saying the real price of gold is much higher. Because they're monkeying with derivatives, but you see what happens in Rolex. That price never goes down. In fact, it goes up even higher if it's a used one, because you can get it now as opposed to waiting a year. Or the Mantle card, you'll never see that card under 60,000 or 70,000. That's just the PSE 9 1965. You'll never see it 20,000 or 30. Well, you'll see it at zero when the dollar goes out, but then gold will reprice it. So basically, all your assets will go to zero when the dollar goes out, which probably very soon. You can't survive with this huge debt and the inflation, the huge printing of the dollar. And no, it is not debased. You debase the gold and silver out of the coins. You don't debase the dollar. What are you taking out of the dollar? What am I debasing? So I'm taking the paper out of the dollar. I mean, come on, guys. For what should be intelligent guys, it shows you how weak the bankers and the stockbrokers really don't understand anything. There was a on YouTube. There's Peter Schiff and what's his name? The funny guy, funny looking guy, um, Kawasaki. And it's like, there ain't no way I'm watching 2 minutes of that. Two idiots talking that you couldn't understand a word what they said. I mean, they would talk, but nothing would come out of their mouth. So I just laugh going, yeah, that's as bad as Jim Rickards on or Rick Rude. He doesn't know shit. They're all a bunch of crooks and they all should be in jail. They don't know anything. But they shouldn't be taught because they're lying, basically. They don't know. They still think it's not paper money, or they don't understand that it's paper, and they don't understand its derivatives, and they don't understand inflation. How do you listen to people like that? All right. So gold's set for the weekend. They will come back on Monday. Well, Sunday night, the Orient Asia comes on, and it's going to bang it pretty hard. It'll be over 2,400 on Monday. All right, baseball. Great day yesterday, 7-3. So I went 3-0 on Thursday, 7-3. Yesterday, that's 10-3. I'm starting to figure this shit out. I have Detroit over 7.5. It was like a 13 run. I think it was 11-3 or 10-3 Minnesota. The game was over in the fourth inning. It was 6-2 Minnesota. That's 8. We're over 7.5. That's why it was played so high. The 7.5 made no sense. See, thanks to these analytics and algorithms and all this shit, they're incredibly bad. Right. So we know the Tigers have been scoring and Minnesota's a good offense, and the pitching sucked yesterday. It wasn't anybody good pitching. So knowing that was an easy over, and it was 6-2 in the fourth inning, on its way to, I think, 10 or 11-3. So over 7.5, and I made a big bet, 7 units on it. Philly under 8, 3 units. I got in. It's scary to go Philly under, but it was a low scoring game. Tampa Bay over 7.5. Did not get there. Again, this was a play because it was 7.5. Baltimore loses to San Diego. Toronto over 8 wins for 3 units. Seattle under 7.5 plays a high scoring game. That loses. We have KC that wins. We have St. Louis over 7.5. That wins. We have Oakland over 9 is a push. And we have Pitt under 8.5, and that wins. So Pitt's a good defensive team, good pitching. They don't score a lot of runs. And they have good pitching, so it was perfect. So we go 7-3. We lost with Baltimore. Baltimore is not playing well. Again, now they're not in a good streak where sometimes they do. Philadelphia's also, we're more over under on Philly than taking Philly. And that's how we are with Baltimore. Seattle under normally comes in. They got a lot of runs. And Tampa, who the hell knows, over 7.5. Surprised that game didn't go over because the pitch wasn't good. All right, so that was 726. Let's go to 727. And that's a card game I used to play. It was the stupidest card game in the world. You got dealt 2 cards. Aces were 1 over 11. The best hand you could get was 2 aces and a 5, and that would give you 7 and 27. So you could use the aces as 1s, and you could use the aces at 11. And the problem was the betting. If you got 7, you won a lot because you're trying to get to 27. And I think pitcher cards were zeros and tens. I agree, with John. Pitchers were tens. So, you'd be getting zeros and, you go from 9 to 13 to 16 to 20 to 22 on your way, hoping for 27. So now it's just luck if you get there. So I tended to, if I didn't hit the under, I folded because then it becomes just pure luck. You're going for the over and you can't get there. And but it was really a stupid lucky game, as most poker is. Most poker is luck. There's very little skill in poker. I mean, the biggest skill about poker is reading your opponent. What do I think he has? What is he telling me he has? And if you can spot that, which you can't, very rarely can you spot it, what the guy really has, because he's playing games too. He knows you're watching. I know you're watching me when I'm in the hand, so I'm going to give you false clues all over the place. But like I said, the only ones that are really probably pretty good is looking at the TV. He's got a hand because he doesn't care, and having drinks. Having a drink is probably a good hand because when you're bluffing, you're much more still and quiet because you don't want to give anything away. So where you get like Daniel Negreanu and you're talkative, that's his tell that he's got nothing. He yaps. All right. What's the best card game? Well, it depends on what you like to play, Craig or John. I mean, I prefer 7-card stud high-low over Hold'em. I think Hold'em's a joke. Stupidest game I've ever seen. It's community cards. I used to play this crisscross game where there'd be 5 community cards. So go 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 1 and 2. So it'd go across and up and down. And you could only use the row. So you could use this card, the middle, and that one, but you couldn't use the top and the right. And that was pure luck. 7-card stud is okay. 5-card stud, Cincinnati Kid is, I don't know. I prefer the 7 over the 5, but I like the spit card, 1 spit card, not 5 community cards and Hold'em. I think that's just stupid. It's just luck. It's a bad game. It's because you can have nothing. I can have aces. And if I get aces in 7-card stud, I'm winning 99 out of 100. 7-card stud, it's all over. But because of the community cards, you can have a pair of you can have a 2-3, and the flop could come 2-2, and that's happened to me before. I had aces. The flop comes with 2 2s, so somebody gets 3 2s, and I lose to a guy with a 2-6, and I got aces. That's bullshit. That's just luck. But anyway, on to baseball. 7:27. A glorious day. Texas and Toronto, they played a pretty high-scoring game yesterday, I believe. Yeah, Toronto over did win. I'm surprised I bet the Toronto. Usually I'm not, but Texas. Michael Lorenzen for Texas, 5-5 with a 3.53 against Kevin Gausman, 8-8 with a 4.55. So you got 2 pretty good pitchers, not great ERAs, over under of 8.5. I don't know. They started hitting yesterday. Again, we got to see them start hitting to know what to do with it. So I'm going to pass on that game. That's 3:07. That's the first game. 4:05. It's 11:30 now. Plenty of time. San Diego, Baltimore. San Diego won yesterday, like 5-1. Kind of surprised. San Diego 115, 8.5. Michael King 8-6 with the 3.28. Dean Kramer or Dean Martin 4-6 with the 4.43. I don't know how good Michael King is. Kramer, San Diego's favored. Baltimore lost at home. They're not playing well. What you gonna do? So let's look at the pitchers. Michael King. Michael King, his last 5 games, 7 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 2, 5 innings, 1, 6 innings, 1, 6 innings, 5, 4 innings, 1, 5 innings, 2. So pretty good his last 10, except for Milwaukee. You got 5 runs on him. And this is the problem with the pitching. They'll have a lot of, here they give up 1, they give up 2, they give up 1. And then there's that one game they give up 5. So let's take that out. So let's just give them the whole and say, okay, so Michael King is pitching really good. Dean Kremer or Dean Martin went to Vegas. All right, the guy's a good guy. Starter, last 5 games, gave up 5 hits on 5 innings, 4 and 4, 7 and 4, or 4 and 7, 4 innings, 7 runs, 5 innings, 2 runs, 4 innings, 6 runs. So, and 5 innings, 4 runs. So in his last 2, 4, 6. Well, he didn't pitch in June. So May 12th and May 20th gives up 4 and 6. And then July, so he doesn't pitch in June. He's given up 2, 7, 4, and 5. So he's a pretty weak pitcher. So I could see why San Diego's favored and bats. All right, so I'll take San Diego. And we'll just make it 2 units. Baltimore's a good team. They're 61 and 42, so they're a good team, but they're not playing well now. And this is where baseball's every day, and you got to be very leery and careful about that. If they are every day, then they're going to go streaky. My uncle showed me the best way to analyze this. So I'm like 21, and I'm in Vegas, and my uncle's from Toronto, and he happens to be in Vegas. And I call him up. How do you play blackjack? Because I'm betting $2 every hand. I don't know I don't understand streaks. So he flips a quarter. It's probably two-headed, but I didn't know. He flips a quarter 50 times, and it came up heads like 40 and tails 10. And he says, well, it'll end up 50-50, but you can see the streak. The heads hit 10, 15 in a row, and then the tails started hitting. And so it's why I'm a believer in streaks. And so in baseball, playing every day, you then believe in streaks. You then understand the streaks are part of sports, baseball, football, whatever sport. A team's going to get hot, and a team's going to win a lot and then lose a lot. Like our Baltimore, they won 61 games, but I'm sure they lost 42, but it was probably a 10-game winning streak, and now they're not playing too well. So the key is to watch the streak more so that you can't just bet Baltimore they won 61 games or Philly. They're going to go through times where they win 8-9 games in a row and then lose 8-9 games. And so you're watching for the streaks. Like the Tigers are hitting, although they're stopped hitting now as soon as they played good pitching. And then Minnesota's hitting good. Oakland's hitting good. So they go through the streaks. And then you go and that's you just ride the streak until it ends. Like Detroit didn't hit. They didn't hit against Cleveland. Okay, so they're in big trouble. All right. Because that's all they got. They have no pitching. Atlanta and the Mets minus 120 and 80. We got Spencer Swellenbach, 3-5 with the 4.62, and Tyler McGill, 2-4 with the 5.08. Now, the problem is Atlanta has got a lot of injuries, so they're not hitting. So it's either take the Mets or take the game under. But you got a guy with a 5.08 ERA against the team that doesn't hit. And you got a 4.62 ERA for Atlanta, so the Mets should hit him, but can Atlanta put runs up? So due to the injuries and the weak pitching, the play should be over. But with Atlanta's injuries, the Mets should win the game, but I can't bet on a guy who's 2-4 at the 5.08 ERA. Unless, let's see, let's look at his last 5. So he pitched in May and June. He hasn't pitched in July yet. It's July 27th, so I don't know if he's injured. His last 5, he gave up 4 runs on 5 innings, 3 innings, 6 runs, 5 innings, 2 runs, 4 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings, 5 runs. This guy gives up a shitload. And Spencer Snellenberger from Big Nebraska doesn't even have a pitcher. We don't even know what the guy has no pitcher. What does he look like? It's like the unknown comic. We don't know what he looks like. His last 5, 6 innings, 4 runs, 7 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 4, 5 innings, 4. So we had a couple of good, 7 hits, 1 run for Philly and San Diego. St. Louis gives up 4 runs, and then 4 to Pitt, 4 to St. Louis. And he got 1 against Detroit when they weren't hitting. So he can pitch well. He's had a few bad ones, 4-4, and then the last one 4. So again, we have a matchup issue, it looks like. So we can't really, this should be an over game. How bad is Atlanta? I don't know. I think I went into it. Let's go into this game from yesterday, Atlanta and the Mets. So the Mets win 8-4. And let's look at the box score. Atlanta's hitting 242. The pinch hitters, they pinch hit with 244. The third baseman, 254. DH, 308. First baseman, 226. Glad you're batting him fourth. Then the catcher, 257. The left fielder, 179. The right fielder, 188. The second baseman, 063. The shortstop, 218. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters under 220 and one at 226. This is Atlanta's problem, right? And then we go to the Mets. We got Lindor, 257, 234, 265. I love this. So your J.D. Martinez goes 3 for 4, 4 RBIs, a home run, hitting 265. And you pinch hit him with D. Stewart, a pinch hitter who's hitting 176. Can you explain that to me? Because I'd love to understand how you can pull out a guy like J.D. Martinez, 265 hitter for a 176 hitter. Now, I do see the score probably at the time was 8-3 because they win 8-4. So maybe just to get them out, but why do you need to rest them? Then we got Alonso, 241, 231, 290, 365, and Iglesias, 273, 226. So the Mets are hitting pretty well, and they have J.D. Martinez. Let's look what the pitching was like. So Charlie Morton starts for Atlanta, goes 2 innings, gives up 7 runs, 4.16 ERA. Hernandez at the 0.82 ERA goes only 1 inning, gives up a run. Then a 3.13 pitcher, 2 innings, gives up 1 hit. 293, 1 inning, and 179 doesn't give up anything. So the starter gives up 7 of the 8 runs. Not sure why he was out there for 1 inning to give up 7 runs. After 2 or 3 batters are getting hits, you get them out. Senga for the Mets, 3.38 ERA, goes 5 innings, gives up 2 runs. Then how the hell do you have a guy with a 21.60 ERA in your bullpen, pitched 1 and 2, gives up 1 hit, 1 run, a home run. Then 4.78 gives up 2 hits, and a 5.23 closes it out. So their bullpen's rather weak, but they probably didn't use their ace with an 8-3 lead. That's where it's hard to understand. You can see the batting, but you can't see that. So 8 for the Jets yesterday. How do we work that in today? Well, the Mets hit, so the Mets should hit, but they have a bad pitcher. So you're not going to get much help from Atlanta, right? That's obvious. They did get 3 runs. I'm going to go with the Jets's here. But let's think it. See, Atlanta's down to 241 batting average, but with a very good ERA, 294. And the Mets are hitting 250 with a 422. So this game should go over. Jets over, and it's 8. We'll play it for 2 units. We don't love it because Atlanta's so injured and you got 4 guys hitting under 200. However, the craziness about baseball is the 4 guys hitting 200, you can hit 180, still get 2-3 hits, right? So that's where the problem lies then, is they still get the hits, even though they're hitting 180. Javi Baez for Detroit's hitting about 150, and he hit a home run. I mean, blind squirrels find a nut every once in a while. And that's the problem with averages. You look at, he's got a 200 average, he won't get a hit. Well, he will 2 times out of 10. Your 300 hitter will get a hit 3 out of 10, which means 7 times he won't get a hit. And that's really the problem. All right. So where are we at? So we'll take the Mets over. We can't trust Tyler McGill 2 and 4 at the 508 to win a game for us. We can trust that he'll give up 2-3 runs, and the Atlanta guy will give up 2-3 runs, and then we get to the bullpen. So we should have about 6 of them runs by the first 4 innings. All right. Cincinnati and Tampa. We got Andrew Abbott for Cincinnati, 9-6 with the 319. Zach Littell, 3-7 with the 446. The game is in Tampa. Tampa 125-8. We had Tampa over yesterday. They didn't get there. These pitchers are pretty bad. I'm not going to fight it. It should be an over game. I'm not playing it. Cleveland at Philly, very good. 62-41 Cleveland against 64-39 Philly. In Philly, Philly's a 145-9. Carlos Carrasco, 3-8 with a 5.32 against Tyler Phillips, 2-0 with a 2.81. We like Philly if this guy's not a bullpen guy. And he's not a bullpen guy, but he just started July 7th. 4 innings, 1 run against Atlanta. 6 innings, 4 runs against Oakland. 6 innings, shutout Pittsburgh, which isn't surprising. So he's 2-1, and his ERA is, he gave up 4, but he's only got 3 games. So you don't really know anything here. Carrasco 3-8 with the 5.32. We want to go over. How do we bet Philadelphia here? We got to look at the bullpen. So let's say this guy goes 4 innings. Cleveland can hit him. Philadelphia hitting 259 with the 3.87, and Cleveland hitting 243 with the 2. So we know Cleveland with the major bullpen. And so we can't go over in the game. So it's an under or nothing with Cleveland's bullpen, because Cleveland gets on you, it's all over. And Philly, well, that's the problem. They could hit. So this is an offsetting one. We got Carrasco, which sucks. Philly, their pitchers only pitch 3 games. Cleveland's bullpen will shut you down, so you can't go over. You're not going to get runs after the 6th inning. So this is a counterintuitive. This would be an under, but not with Carrasco. I can't take Philly. This should be a Philly, but I can't take him because the guy's only pitched 3 games. So this is a pass, unfortunately. Minnesota and Detroit. We got Joe Ryan, 6-6 with the 3.65 against Tarek School, 11-3 with the 2.34. Minnesota's a favorite, 110, 6.5 over under. Skubal. Last game, 7 innings, gave up 10 hits and only 1 run. He got lucky against Cleveland. 6 innings, 2 runs against the Dodgers, 7 innings, 1 run against Cincy, 6 innings, 3 runs against Minnesota. And this is Minnesota. So let's look at 6 innings. He gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, and a home run. So does Minnesota hit him? Well, they did. Did they play him again? No. So in the earlier meeting at Mini, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs in 6 innings. So what you going to do is Scooble that good? Don't know. Lefty. Does Minnesota hit lefties? Well, they hit them last time. Joe Ryan, 6-6. So this has got to be an under, but they made the under 6.5, so it's not playable. Detroit's been scoring, so they've been over, but yesterday only got 3 runs. They got 3 runs against Cleveland. 1, I got shut out against Cleveland. Their center fielder, Riley Green, who's the all-star, is hitting like 270, is hurt because of his legs. What is that? So this is a guy that you got to get rid of because he can't play a full season. He's got leg problems from playing every day. What the fuck is that? I've never heard that before. I've heard of a sprained ankle or you twisted a knee, but I've never heard where the guy needs rest because of his legs. I mean, that's just insane. So don't know what to do with that. So this is probably depends what Scooble does. He's inconsistent. He's starting to give up runs. I don't know. He goes 6 innings, 7 innings. Good ERA. I'm going to pass on that. It's the 6.5. I want to play over, but I can't with Scooble. And then Joe Ryan. So what do I do? It's probably an under game. Do I bet Detroit? Let's go under. Let's go Detroit under. Just because the last few games. But I don't like the 6.5. I'm only going to play this 2 units. 6.5 so low, but the way Detroit's hitting, they'll never get there. Mini, on the other hand, is hitting, but let's say Scooble, throws a 3-hitter and they get 1 run. So we'll see. Colorado and the 49ers. I think this was a high-scoring game. I didn't play it. Yeah, Frisco scored like 2 touchdowns on them, and they went over the 10. Here, the game's in the 49ers. So it must have been a low. Yeah, because Colorado's on the road. We didn't know what they would do. They didn't do much, but the Niners hit them. The Niners are 225-7. Ryan Feltner for Colorado, 1-10 with a 5.19. Blake Snell, 0-3 with a 5.83. So we are going over here, over 7. And we got to play this. This is a 5-unit play. You got 2 5 ERA pitchers and an over-under a 7. I know Colorado doesn't hit much outside of Colorado, but the Niners hit them pretty good. You don't need much. You need 7 runs, and you have no pitching. You got a guy 1-10 against the guy 0-3. Yeah, who's going to win? We have no idea. The bullpen guy. The Cubs and KC. We had KC yesterday and got the win. Today, KC minus 125-8 in KC. The Cubbies, Shota Imanaga, 8-2 with a 2.86 against Seth Lugo, 12-4 with a 2.38. Beautiful. KC under 8. And this is our 7-unit play. We got 2 aces going, 2.86 and a 2.38. And here we get an 8. Scooble's going, and it's 6.5. Here it's an 8. So this is a much better line and 2 really good pitchers. So we're going under. It seems it was a low-scoring game yesterday, I believe. I think the Cubs got shut out, and they probably get shut out today. Miami and Milwaukee. Now I noticed Miami's been playing well. They gave um, Philadelphia or San Diego all they wanted, and now they got Milwaukee and they won yesterday. Let's keep an eye on Miami is hot. Milwaukee 155-8. Miami Max Meyer 2-0 with the 2.12 against Aaron Chevalier 2-7 with the 5.0 ERA. Let's see who Max Meyer is from Minnesota. Friends of Ric Flair, no doubt. April 1st, April 7th. So this guy hasn't pitched since April. He gave up 2 runs, 1 run, and 1 run in 6 innings. So what do we got here? We got a guy off of injury. It gives him 4 or 5 innings. So let's go to the bullpen. Miami has a 397 bullpen with a 234, and Milwaukee has a 335 bullpen and 250. So Milwaukee's the better team, but they're not playing well. Miami got the win yesterday. Again, you got a situation. Max Meyer hasn't pitched since April, and Aaron Chevalier is 2-7 with the 5.0 ERA. Interesting. So we will see. I mean, I don't know. Miami 397 bullpen. They don't hit much. Milwaukee 335, and they hit. Milwaukee's the better team here, but Chevalier's 2-7. Max Myers, I got to leave this game alone. I think Miami might be the W, but no bet there. The Dodgers in Houston played a 5-0 game. Houston won. Dodgers with some injuries on offense. Houston, Altuve. That's all you need to know there. Houston minus 150, 8.5. Justin Robleski, 0-1 with the 4.40 against Ronald Blackwell, our no-hitter guy. 9-5 with the 2.75, but hold up. His last game he sucked, I think. Let's see what he did. So against Seattle, 5 innings, gave up 4 runs. It's a while since the Tiger game. He shuts out the Tigers, 1 run, Baltimore. The Mets get 6 on them, and then 2 against Toronto, 2 against Miami, 2 against Texas, and 4 at Seattle, which was surprising. Seattle doesn't hit. Robleski. He's only played a few games. So he just started in July. He gave up 4 runs to Milwaukee, 4 runs to Detroit, and only pitches 4 innings and shuts out Boston. Don't know what that's about. So yeah, we're got to go Houston here. We'll go 3 innings. The Dodgers can hit. They're 62-43. I mean, but Houston's on a nice roll. They beat them 5-0. So I don't think they'll hit Blanco too much. Yanks at Boston played a high-scoring game. The Yanks won. Marcus Stroman, 7-5, 3.51 for the Yanks. Cutter Crawford, 6-8, 3.37 has been playing better. It was a high-scoring game yesterday, which I don't know what that means. Is it going to – at least they're starting to hit. It's in Fenway. It's 9.5. 2 pretty good pitchers. We can't take either team here because it's who knows. And they did hit well, so you want to go over, but with the pitchers, they say go under, and you got a 9.5. I don't know. I got to leave this game alone. There's no. It's counter, right? I want to go under, but they hit well yesterday. The game's in Boston, so leave it alone. Seattle and the White Sox. We had Seattle under 7.5, and what I thought would be low scoring, and they scored 15 runs. Seattle at 147.5. Ric Flair going. Brian Wu, 4-1 with the 254 against Eric Fetty, 7-3 with the 298. We will try this again. The Sox, the White Sox, this time we'll go under 7.5. And we'll go 3 units here. Two good pitchers, two weak hitters. This should be an under. A lot of runs yesterday. I think it was like my under was 7 and they scored 8 runs in the first inning. And I never seen this before. The under was gone in the first inning. And I think they scored 8 and it ended 10-0 or something. Washington, St. Louis played a high scoring game yesterday. St. Louis minus 145, 8.5. Jake Irvin, 7-8 with the 3.44 against Kyle Gibson, 7-3 with the 3.99. High scoring game yesterday, over under 8.5. Gibson, Irvin. I don't know. I'm another you don't know because Irvin's 7-8 with the 3.44. Decent ERA, but he's 7-8. So you'd want to bet Gibson. He's 7-3 with the 3.99, but you can't bet Gibson because Irvin's got the 3.44. Could shut you out. So that's the problem with these 3.5, 4 pitchers. They could shut you out and they could give you 10 runs. So you don't know what you're getting. Pitt in Arizona. We had Pitt under and it won yesterday. We've got Arizona 175.8. Marco Gonzalez 1-1 with the 2.70 and Brandon Pfaadt 4-6 with the 3.74. Gonzalez probably a bullpen guy. We went to Gonzaga. I thought they only went to Gonzaga for basketball. So he pitches 3 games in April and then comes back in July. 5 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 2, 6 innings, 2. Then he comes back, 5 innings, 1, 4 innings, 2. So this guy's a pretty good pitcher for the 5 or 6 innings. And they don't hit well. They got a good bullpen, I think. Yeah, well, 435 bullpen. They hit 231. In Arizona with the 428 bullpen hit. So Arizona's more of an over. Pitt's more of an under. Both pitchers are low. Let's go under in this game. Let's go Pitt. Under 8. And we'll play it for 3 units. Oakland and California. We push on this. Over under with 5-4. Oakland wins 9. Surprised they didn't get over 9, but they 5-4. LA's a 125 favorite, over under a 9. Mitch Spence 6-6 with the 4.67 against Tyler Anderson, 8-0 with the 2.91. I'm not going over in this game. California, better bullpen. Let's go California here. But I'm not betting it. I'm betting California. And the last one, Colorado and the 49ers. This was a high-scoring game yesterday. 2 touchdowns for the Niners and a field goal for Colorado, I believe. The Niners are minus 210 and 8. Tanner Gordon 0-2 with the 10.61 against Hayden Birdsong, 2-0 with the 3.55. So we'll take San Francisco to win, not to place. That horse isn't going to place. This horse is going to win. So we're taking them to win. So this was a hard day picking. There was a lot of the over team with the good pitcher or the under team with the bad pitcher, and you don't know what are you going to do. Then it becomes luck, like poker. San Diego, 2 units. The Mets, over 8, 2 units. Detroit, under 6.5, 2 units, a very low spread. San Francisco, over 7, 5 units. KC, under 8, 7 units. Houston, 3 units. The White Sox, under 7.5, 3 units. Pitt, under 8, 3 units. And the 49ers, 3 units. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 plays. The best ones, Kansas City under. 2 aces going, under 8. Frisco. That can't be Frisco. Who's after Detroit? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Frisco's got a doubleheader. The first game's at 7. Okay, so let's Frisco in game 1 of the doubleheader is an over, and then we're playing them in game 2 of the doubleheader. Okay. They must be making up for an earlier one. So that's your baseball today. We've been pretty hot. Let's take a look at college football. It's coming around the corner. Well, we got about a month. Let's go to the line. And let's go to college football line. So next Thursday starts the NFL preseason, the Bears and Tennessee or Houston, I think. Meaningless game. Probably won't see Caleb, but we should see him the whole first half. He's not ready by any stretch of the imagination because he played in it's almost like a scam offense. It's not a real offense. It's a run and shoot. The quarterback looks good, but then he gets into the pros and you end up with Jalen Hurts, where he doesn't know what he's doing. He wants to run more, but Caleb doesn't run. So Caleb's going to be like Baker. Baker's okay, and then he's bad, and then he's okay. He's decent. I always like Baker's, passion for the game. Caleb has no passion. He's a crybaby who lost and cried. I can't imagine you'd want a guy like that on your team. Well, we will see. We'll have fun betting against him anyway. All right. Florida State, Georgia Tech. Florida State's now 13, 55.5, up from 54.5. I hope they're not betting on Uglia Buglia. Jesus. Big mistake there. So this is August 24th. And then we've got SMU Nevada, and we got SMU minus 24.5 and 56.5, 57. We got SMU as an A team last year, Nevada a W team. That's last year, so we'll see. Same quarterback, which is good, same coach. So you would think they've switched conferences now. Nevada was terrible last year, terrible defense. I don't think you fix a Nevada defense one year to the other. All right. Now we're on August 29th, so just the 2 games, the 24th, 29th. We got Minnesota, 2.5, 50.5 against North Carolina. Both teams with 27 defenses. North Carolina, an over team. Minnesota is just a crap team. Both have new quarterbacks, whatever that means. Minnie normally has a good defense, but not last year. So we'll see how they play out. A lot of it's injuries. And a lot of the problem with the transfer portal is you got guys that aren't that good. That's why they're transfer portal guys, right? Well, I'm third string on Iowa, so I'm going to transfer to Minnesota. And so what are you getting? We're getting a guy from Iowa. Yeah, it's third string. You never played. Is he really going to help you? Well, you don't know, but this is the problem with the transfer portal. All right, Colorado, 8.5 and 58.5 to North Dakota State. Division II, good luck on that. We'll see what Prime does with his defense this year, but I'm not touching. It's Division II game. Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State's down to 3.5 from 4.5. A little bit of line movement there. Over under 57. Returning quarterback for Coastal Carolina. New quarterback for Jacksonville State. This is Rich Rod's team. They were a pretty good team last year. They're actually like a B team. With Rich Rod, he's going to have a good offense. Coastal Carolina gave up 24 last year. Jacksonville State 20. All right. Michigan State, Florida Atlantic. Michigan State 11.5, 47. That line hasn't moved. New transfer quarterbacks for both teams. Michigan State has the Oregon State coach and quarterback. We don't know about the quarterback. Supposedly he's good, but didn't play a lot. Couldn't beat out Uglia Buglia. And then the coach was pretty good for Oregon State. So he moves to Michigan State. They'll be a lot better because the coach they had sucked. Um, you see it coming, right? When they hire an idiot coach who sucked at Colorado or wherever he was from, and he sucks, and then you grab him, and what do you expect him to be better? And then the team struggles, and then they let him go. Well, of course. So this guy's a good coach, though, Oregon State. So Michigan State should be much improved. I don't know how long it'll take. And Childs, the quarterback, they only played a few games last year, so and it's Big Ten, so we will see. It's ironic, here's Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA, and they move to the Big Ten, and they get these guys. I sorted my Big Ten yesterday by points, and it went from Ohio State and Michigan were the lead to Oregon, Washington, and USC were the top three in the Big Ten now. It's just funny how the different conferences go. All right. Oklahoma and Temple. Oklahoma 42, up from 41, and over under of 60. That hasn't moved. Oklahoma, I don't know what they'll be. They lost Dylan Gabriel. I guess they're getting a new offensive coordinator. Temple sucks. They're a Z team. They gave up 36 a game. Oklahoma gave up 22. So the coach, the defensive coordinator from Clemson, is getting a good defense at Oklahoma. The question is their offense. You got a new quarterback. Temple's new quarterback is weak. That's what I read on it. So Oklahoma should start out well, but I think it's one of these option quarterbacks that can run and pass, and an athlete, but he can't pass like Lamar. So we will see. But against Temple, it's not much of a test. Wisconsin, Western Michigan, Wisconsin 24, 56.5. We got Van Dyke is the new quarterback for Wisconsin. They're 19 defense, Western Michigan a 32 defense. Van Dyke should have a good opening day, but he's got to get used to the receivers and the system. They tried to run and shoot at Miami last year. It didn't really work. So let's see what happens this year. So with Wisconsin, they tried to run and shoot with the SMU quarterback. Didn't work. Van Dyke's very good quarterback. 19 defense will probably be there. Luke Fickell, good defensive coach. But I understand him going to the run and shoot, but you got to get the right coordinator and then the right linemen and the right receivers. And Wisconsin's always had weak receivers, and except for Russell Wilson, kind of weak quarterbacks. So, it's really the quarterback that's weak, not the offense. But it was mostly run the ball and play defense. It was old Green Bay Packer team. Will run and play defense and win the games, 20-3. Stanford TCU, I got TCU minus 7.5, 8.5, over under 61. TCU, look for them to bounce back. Both quarterbacks are returning. Stanford was a pretty bad team last year. 37 defense, TCU 27 defense. Great coach, Sonny Dykes for TCU, good offensive mind. Look for a lot of points by TCU this year, so they're much the better team. One of our main games, Georgia Clemson. We got Georgia 13.5, 48. That line hasn't moved. Both quarterbacks are returning. Game's in Atlanta, so that's a boost for Georgia. Clemson had a 20 defense. Georgia had a 16 defense and fired their defensive coordinator because the guy he blew the Alabama game. So look for Georgia to be a lot more aggressive and get that defense down to 10 or 11. So that's what you have. So not a lot of points in this game, I wouldn't think. Hey G, how are you? Um, how you feeling? I hope you're okay. I'm fine. Um, just getting ready for football. So yeah, I'm okay. Thank you. Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. We got Virginia Tech 13-54. VTech's got a returning quarterback. Vandy, a new transfer. Vandy's problem is their defense, 36, Virginia Tech, 24. There's very few good teams with a really weak defense, even like USC. They only won they must have won 6 games because they went to the bowl game. Look at Colorado with all that offense. They didn't. They won 4 games. So it's a matter of, that's why I'd rather see a 15 or 16 defense than a good offense with the 36 defense. So we'll see. We got Maryland against Connecticut. Maryland minus 21, 47.5. Don Brown's the coach, I think, or no, Jim Mora, one of them. I think Don Brown's UMass, Jim Mora's Connecticut. Maryland gave up 23 a game, Connecticut 30. Both have new quarterbacks. Taylor Gavua Jr. didn't get drafted. And Connecticut, I mean, they lost a lot of talent. So this is a touch and feel game. Maryland's usually pretty good at home. That's a big number. Connecticut's not that bad. Pretty well coached. So they're not, I don't think, is still a Z team. But their 30 defense doesn't help them. Pitt and Kent State. We got Pitt 23.5, 53.5. Both quarterbacks are new. Kent gave up 35, Pitt 27. Kent is the Z team. Pitt, not very good. Now, Narduzzi is a good defensive coach at Michigan State. They gave up 27 a game in the ACC. That's kind of weak. So I don't know. I don't think Pitt will be very good this year. Kent State won't be any good. So I don't know. Pitt really doesn't have the offense for me to lay 23 points, but you certainly can't take Kent. You can't bet a Z team here. You can bet Z against Z, but you can't bet Z against a team like Pitt who wants to get off to a good start. Second game of the day, we got Penn State 10.5, 51.5 to West Virginia. Penn State gave up 11 a game last year. West Virginia 28. Both quarterbacks are back. Both quarterbacks are very good. Penn State playing in the Big Ten again had no competition except for the Michigan game. The Big Ten was horribly on offense, except for even Ohio State was not very good. McCord sucked. Penn State was good, but they didn't play themselves, and Michigan put up 25, but they ran the whole second half. So we'll see. I think West Virginia plays a good game against them. They gave up 28 and Penn State 11. So, but on the road, I think at West Virginia in a revenge game, I think they can play pretty good. They should score on Penn State here. You get the crowd, you get emotional, and I think with revenge and a really good quarterback, I think they'll play them a good game. Let's see. Miami against Florida. I do not understand that. This is like the baseball 7.5s, right? One game today in baseball we took. What we got? I think it's San Francisco over 7. And with both pitchers suck, we took the game over. And we bet 5 because it doesn't make sense. The pitchers are like 5 ERAs and the over-under 7, when the over-under should be 9. So, yeah, I know they're taking Colorado stats on the road, but again, they're averages. But that's the same thing here. You've got why in God's name is Miami favorite in the game and 55.5. So the total hasn't changed. So Miami's got Ward from Washington State's the new quarterback. Florida's got the guy from Wisconsin who was there last year who played pretty well. I don't think that's their problem. So, I mean, as you say, G, Florida as a home dog is a pretty good bet in the swamp. So, I don't really see Miami winning the game. I don't know why everybody's excited. This is the same coach that didn't take a knee and cost them the Georgia Tech game. It's like the Lion coach. He cost them the Super Bowl by going for 4th down twice against the Niners. All they had to do is kick 2 field goals. They were in the Super Bowl. Well, he's aggressive. No, he's stupid. He's not aggressive. There's a time to be aggressive. It's like playing poker. You got 4 aces. You're not aggressive. You are very passive. You're just checking. I got 4 aces. I ain't betting a nickel. I don't want anybody to go out. I want them to bet into me. That's the only skill in poker is that you have the big hand and you just check it. And so they read you as weak because you're checking and you got the 4. That's the best skill in poker. And that's what you got here. Is that right? You're looking at that. So I don't get the Miami head coach not taking a knee, and now it shows how bad he is. Yeah, that was my point. So he's not really good. And that's the problem. So I don't get how Miami's favored. The coach still sucks. Still doesn't know how to coach. How do you not know to take a knee, right? And end the game. I mean, it's just, and then you lose it yet on a bomb with 5 seconds left. They throw a bomb for a touchdown to beat you. I mean, where's the defense? So terrible coaching all the way around. So we'll see. But how is this team favored at Florida? That's a bad spread. Florida should be a field goal favorite. Okay, Canese State against UTSA. Canese State is new to Division I, so it's like Sam Houston last year, Jacksonville State last year. So you got to wait on them. We have no idea. They were very weak offensively. UTSA is 23-49.5. Frank Harris has finally moved on after I think he played 10 years at UTSA. So both have new quarterbacks. Even Tennessee State has a new quarterback. UTSA, we got to see what their new quarterback looks like. The coach is pretty good. They gave up 24 on defense. So it's like these pitchers that they've only pitched 2 games in April. You got to wait and see what they're going to do. All right, UTEP and Big Nebraska. Big Nebraska minus 27.5. Where did they go? Nebraska 27.5. Call it 48. Down from 50. Nebraska's got Matt Rule. Good defensive coach. They had an 18 defense last year. It'll probably be the same. They got a new freshman quarterback, and UTEP has a returning quarterback. So Nebraska is more of an under team with the 18 defense, UTEP with the 28. I don't know Nebraska will have a good offense or not, but they will have a good defense. So we'll see. So it's hard to lay 28 with the team that probably doesn't have a good defense. Eastern against UMass. Eastern -1, 49. Went up from 48. Well, we'll call it 48.5. And Eastern 1.5. Eastern's a good team. They gave up 24 a game. A new quarterback as a transfer. UMass, Don Brown's been coaching pretty good, although he doesn't know defense. Gave up 30. He was only the defensive coordinator at Michigan, and he's giving up 38 a game with UMass and a returning quarterback. UMass had that lucky win against us in New Mexico State the first week. And the ironic part is New Mexico State beats Auburn. UMass only wins 2 other games the whole year, so it was a very, very fluky first game. And that's why you got to be careful the first game. They brought on a new quarterback. He used to be a quarterback at Clemson, and he was more of a running, passing type of quarterback that caught New Mexico State by surprise. But then everybody saw him, and then in the next games, they knew how to defend him, and he didn't do anything. That's why once you see the quarterback, that's why week ones are hard with the new quarterbacks. Now we know what we got. He's the same quarterback this year. So look for Eastern to be more prepared for him. Again, Eastern, 24 defense, UMass 38 defense. Akron and Ohio State. We got Ohio State laying 50 and over under 58.5. Akron's a very weak team, a Z team. Ohio State's loaded. Both teams have new quarterbacks that are transfers, but Ohio State had a huge improvement with Will Howard over McCord. McCord sucked, and he's now the quarterback at Syracuse, so Syracuse will now suck. That's what I love. He couldn't do anything at Ohio State, so he goes to Syracuse. So what's he going to do at Syracuse? He lost talent. He had Marvin Harrison and the Iguana, and now he's got who? And Ohio State always had good receivers, 2 good running backs, Will Howard, exceptional quarterback, strong defense. That's why Ohio State's it's Georgia, Ohio State, Utah, and Oregon, top 4 teams. And Ohio State gave up 11 a game. I think that'll probably continue. And Akron will be shut out in the game. I don't see them scoring against this defense. Ohio State's mad. They lost to Michigan 3 years in a row. They didn't make the playoff last year. 2 years ago, they played very well against Georgia with C.J. Stroud running all over the place and Lamas. But last year, they didn't make the playoffs. They bring in Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator, Will Howard. Look for them to be very, very mean and mad, and look for this. So they're going to take it out on Akron, I think, in week 1. I'm 67 to nothing. I mean, they won't call the horses off. So I think you're better off with Ohio State laying 44 in a teaser. Why go 52? You're not getting help from Akron. They're not going to score for you. So therefore, it's Ohio State pounding it. And I only have to lay 44 instead of 52 and an over, where I'm not going to get help from the other team. You got to get help from both teams to bet an over, right? USC and Washington. Both teams are going to score a lot. And it was like 52-42 last year. So that's what you're getting. But in the Oregon-Colorado game, we thought Colorado would score. They didn't. It was 42-6 for Colorado, or for Oregon. So it didn't go over because Colorado didn't do their share. So that's why you got to look at that. All right. Miami of Ohio, Northwestern 4-43. Okay. New coach for Northwestern. The guy got fired last year. Northwestern with the 24 defense. Miami of Ohio with the 16 defense. A good quarterback. Northwestern's got a new one. I think Miami of Ohio is the better team here, and they're getting 4 points. So there you go with it. Ohio State, Syracuse, as I mentioned. Syracuse has the Ohio State quarterback. They're laying 16, up from 14.5 and 47.5. Raising the line movement. This was 14.5 up to 16, and we're only in July. This game isn't until August 31st, a month away. Ohio, pretty good MAC team, 15 defense, gets a new quarterback. And Syracuse, 24 defense, gets the Ohio State quarterback, which was not very good last year. So we'll see. Indiana against Florida International. Indiana gets the Ohio quarterback, who was very good. So he's a good transfer. They got a new coach from James Madison, who's very good. Look for Indiana to be much better this year. They're laying 20.5, up from 19.5, and 50.5 over under. Both teams' defenses suck. 32 for Florida International, 30 for Indiana. Florida International returning quarterback. Like I said, Indiana gets the transfer from Ohio, who's very good. Now they got James Madison's coach, so they should have a better team, a better defense. James Madison was an A team last year in the Sun Belt, so we'll see. And Florida International, I don't know. The 32 defense, they didn't make a change. Probably still the 32 defense. So we will have to see how this pans out. But I think Indiana should be a little better this year. Texas and Colorado State. Texas lane 35.5, down from 36.5. People betting on Colorado State, are they? Over under down to 59. So I don't know what's going on there. Both teams have returning quarterbacks. Ewers and Colorado State's is okay. Texas with the 17 defense, Colorado State with the 30. So you'd think Texas should put up a big number. And the question is, Colorado State should score a little, not like Akron getting shut out. They should score in the teens. So Texas needs 50 for you. Yeah, we'll see. It could go either way. Georgia Southern and Boise. Boise is supposed to be pretty good this year. Laying 10.5, 57.5. Boise's got a new transfer quarterback. It's a freshman from USC, so he transfers to Boise. Now, here's where I have an issue. He's transferring because he's not the Vegas quarterback transferred in. He'll probably be the starter, and then you got the guy in the bowl game, which doesn't mean anything because nobody tried in the bowl games. But he threw 6 touchdowns, so it's all the system. So the Boise quarterback's probably not that good if they're overlooking him for the Vegas quarterback. So Boise gets the new quarterback who's a freshman. Doesn't mean anything because he's third string. So I got USC's third string quarterback, big whippy. Georgia Southern has a new quarterback who's a freshman, so they're going to be a mess. Boise with the 25 defense, Georgia Southern with the 30 defense. So it's going to be. We'll have to see how the new quarterback's a freshman. Boise's supposed to be more of a running team this year. We'll see. So again, a running team against a 30 defense isn't as good as a good passing team. So we'll see how Boise looks. Old Dominion against South Carolina. South Carolina's laying 20 and 56. And defense, both teams had 26s. Old Dominion's quarterback's back. South Carolina loses Rattler. I love how they're trying to make Rattler look good. Well, he was a 5-star recruit. Yeah, but he sucked in college. So what the fuck you talking about? So whoever drafted Rattler, you're not getting anything out of him. You might as well be there with J.J. McCarthy thinking he's good. He's good at handing the ball off. So South Carolina laying 20. Old Dominion, I don't know. They both gave up 26. Again, you got the new quarterback for South Carolina. You don't know what you got yet. North Texas against South Alabama. We got South Alabama laying 7 and over under a 65. A new transfer quarterback for North Texas. South Alabama has got a returning guy who was a freshman last year, but he must have redshirted. He must have just played a few games because they still have him as a freshman, and he's returning. South Alabama, good team, 22 defense. North Texas, 37, an explosive over team. Scores a ton and gives up a ton. So that's why the over-under 65. Freshman quarterback for South Alabama, 22 defense. We'll see. I think North Texas could be a live dog here. But they do it. The quarterback is new and a transfer, so we'll see. Vegas against Houston, very good game. We've got Houston -3, 56.5. Willie Fritz, the new coach at Houston. Look for Houston to be much improved. It might take 3 or 4 games, maybe not. Vegas, explosive team. Their quarterback went to USC to start, I believe. So how's their backup? So new quarterback for Vegas, the returning one for Houston, but he sucks. Houston with the 31 defense and Vegas with the 27. Look for Houston's defense to get much better, but it's how quickly can they do that? Again, great coach. If this was last year, I'd be all over Vegas and the 9 points. But again, they've got a new quarterback. We've got to see him. I like the coach. Houston, I love the coach. It's probably too early. We gotta see it first. Nevada and Troy. Troy minus 16, 15.5, and 47. Troy with a weak coach. He was the Notre Dame offensive coordinator. I thought he did a horrible job. You had Sam Hartman. You should average 45 points a game. You ran too much, and they lost too much. He's the head coach. New quarterback. Nevada, as we talked about, plays SMU, so we'll get some look at them. 33 defense, returning quarterback. Probably not that good. Troy, we'll have to wait and see. I got a new quarterback and a weak coach. So the coach makes the team, so we'll have to see. I don't know what you looked at the Notre Dame offensive coordinator and thought he was good. Yeah, it's fucking Sam Hartman, and he did nothing with him. What's he going to do at Troy with a new quarterback? So I don't like this game at all. Ella fucking Bama, 31, 59.5 to Western Kentucky. 31, 59.5. That line really hasn't. It was 60, 59.5. Western Kentucky gets a new quarterback as a transfer is pretty good. Alabama still has Milrose. Now, Alabama, under Saban, they had an 18 defense, but DeBoer at Washington had a 23 defense. Now, granted, he had to play Oregon twice, Oregon State, Washington State. So he had a lot of explosive teams. So giving up 23, as I showed you in the Big Ten, Oregon, Washington, and USC are the top 3 scoring offenses came from the Pac-10. So you can see where Washington would have had a worse defense because, who they're playing. The SEC doesn't have an Oregon and a Washington State and an Oregon State offensively. So Alabama laying 31. I think they'll score a lot. Western Kentucky is a very good team. Again, a new quarterback, but he's a transfer. He's pretty good. I think he's from Texas State. And Alabama's got to get used to DeBoer, and I think they'll score a ton. I think he comes in with a good system. See, if I was an NFL team, I'd go after this DeBoer. If I was like the Lions or Chicago, I would go after DeBoer. Chicago should go after Lincoln Riley. If you're going to have Caleb, you might as well sign Lincoln Riley to a 5-year deal. Then at least Caleb can do something, but with their coach, forget about it. So I think this is a high-scoring game. I don't know what Alabama's defense is going to look like. Everybody transferred or got drafted. So they've got a whole new roster, probably a lot of Washington guys, but a lot of them got drafted and out. So we'll see. He's a good coach. Western Kentucky's a strong team, but you're playing at Alabama. You're not. It's funny how you think, well, Western Kentucky can score on them, and they lose, 48-7. Like, how come Western Kentucky didn't score? So that's Alabama's. It's the defensive line. It's the defensive lines is the problem for these non-SEC teams because they just can't. They blitz them, and their quarterback has no time, and they just blitz them every play, and they can't do anything. That's why these SEC teams blow out the other teams. All right, Rice and Sam Houston. Sam Houston, a weak offensive team. Rice 11.5, 48.5. Both teams had 26 defenses last year. Sam Houston, a new quarterback. They scored like 17 a game last year. And then Rice has a new quarterback who's a transfer. Rice was pretty decent last year. 11 and a half. I don't know. I don't know. Flip a coin on this one. Who knows? Michigan playing a real team. How about that? Michigan 21 and 48 and a half, up from 20 and a half, 48 and a half. Fresno State 25 defense. Mikey Keene from UCF is their quarterback now. Well, he was last year. Fresno State, not a bad team. Good coach. Michigan, a 10 defense against nobody, and a new quarterback, this Orgy guy, new coach, new quarterback, new running back, new offensive line, new defense, new defensive coordinator. Michigan, all they did was run the ball 50 times into the line, broke a few, played low-scoring defensive games. I don't like this coach. You got teary-eyed when he beat Penn State. Like, really? Be a man, guy. Come on. You should be happy you win. They're crying. I don't know what's these guys crying, man. Oh, my God. Fresno State with a 25 defense. I mean, Michigan's not going to do much offensively. I don't know. Are they going to run the ball? What are they going to? Are they going to keep running the ball? And then their defense really wasn't that good. They just blitzed 6 guys every play. They copied Georgia's defense, so there was very little. And then their corners were aggressive. So if you did throw a little short pass, they were right on it. So they read the plays very well. Do they have a good defense? Hard to say, but they do put the pressure on. I think a good running team, like Fresno State, Mikey Keene, good offense, good running team, fairly decent defense at a 25. I think Fresno State definitely gives them a game, and I don't know how strong Michigan's offense is going to be. A&M and Notre Dame, another strong game. This is all over the place. We got to pick them. We got A&M -1, A&M -1.5, and Notre Dame -1. So we'll stick with A&M -1 and 49. So this is the type of game. If you want A&M, you can get bet 365. Notre Dame favored one. You get A&M and 7. If you want to bet Notre Dame, you go to FanDuel, and A&M's 1.5. You get Notre Dame and 7.5. Depends on who you figure. Notre Dame with the 17 defense last year, A&M with the 21. Notre Dame picks up Riley Leonard from Duke. Not really that good. He only had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks last year, and then he hurts his ankle. I think he breaks it. So they add Hartman, so I don't know. He's a good running quarterback, I guess. I don't know how that helps Notre Dame. And A&M, their quarterback's back was very good. 17 defense against the 21 defense. New offensive coordinator from Notre Dame. We got to figure that out. A&M, strong defense. Oh, it's the biggest weapons here both have strong defenses. So we'll see. I hope A&M wins, but Riley Leonard, I don't know. He's not going to drive you 70 yards to win the game at the end like Hartman would have. But I don't know. You had Hartman and you didn't do anything with him. Then Hartman doesn't get drafted. What an insult. These scouts are fucking idiots, man. I don't know. What are you looking at? UCLA, Hawaii. UCLA 13.5, 55.5. Hasn't moved. Both quarterbacks are back. Hawaii, 32 defense, and UCLA 18 defense, but a new coordinator. Their coordinator went to USC. They have pretty good defense. But their defensive line coach is now the defensive coordinator, so it should be the same system. Chip Kelly goes to Ohio State, but Deshaun Foster was their running backs coach, so the offense shouldn't change. Well, it needs to change. It wasn't too good last year. They had quarterback problems, but the defense hopefully will be good. Hawaii, no defense, the 32. So question is, can Hawaii score? UCLA probably runs it down their throat. So we will see. But I don't think UCLA be as bad as I thought. You lose Chip Kelly. Oh my God. And you lose your defensive coordinator. But when you replace them with coaches that were there, they will keep the system. That's the point of it. And I'm noticing a lot more teams are going to 2 offensive and 2 defensive coordinators. All of a sudden, it's an offensive coordinator, Joe and Bill. And that's, I think, because these coordinators jump around and I want continuity. So if one goes, I'll keep the other and I can keep stability with my offense or defensive styles. Kentucky, Southern Miss. Southern Miss is just a Z team. Kentucky, 25.5, 50.5. Kentucky's pretty decent. Gets a new quarterback. Southern Miss and a new transfer quarterback. Southern Miss gave up 36 a game and lost Frank Gore Jr. And Kentucky gave up 25. Look for them to start out strong, have a good defense. They've been having good defenses the last few years. So Kentucky's a pretty good team. Southern Miss sucks. Again, 36 defense. So 25, a little high, but we'll see what happens there. Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern. Georgia Tech plays Florida State week 1, laying 20.5, 57.5. Both teams give up 30 a game. A new transfer quarterback for Georgia State, and Georgia Tech gets King back. Good quarterback, beat Miami on that long pass. So Georgia Tech, I think, is improving as a team. Georgia State, we'll see. Both teams gave up 30. I would think Georgia Tech might get a little better defensively. Their offense will be a dynamite, and then Georgia State gives up 30. You don't want to give up 30 and play Georgia Tech, so you got a problem there. So James Madison, Charlotte. James Madison lost their quarterback. They get a new quarterback, transfers from Washington, who was 3rd string for Penix. Charlotte, new quarterback. Let's look at the line. 8.5, 9 for James Madison. 51.5 over under. James Madison, now the coach is gone, so they got an 18 defense, not anymore. We'll have to see. Charlotte has their coach, 28 defense. So James Madison should have their way with them. The Washington quarterback should be good. James Madison was a good team. Again, though, the coach went to Indiana, and I believe the quarterback went with him. So Charlotte's a very weak team, so we'll see. Arizona State, Wyoming. Arizona State, 6.5, 46.5, down from 7.5. Money pouring in on Wyoming. Arizona State sucked last year. Wyoming wasn't much better. A new quarterback for Wyoming and a new transfer freshman quarterback for Arizona State. That smells trouble. Arizona State, the 32 defense, Wyoming at 23. So it's hard to bet on Arizona State with this weak defense, although Wyoming, much better at home than in the desert. Pretty decent, usually has a pretty decent defense and a weak offense. So we'll see how good these teams are. New Mexico, Arizona. Arizona, 30, 54.5. Hasn't moved. New Mexico, Z team, 35 defense. New quarterback. Arizona, the coach moved to Washington, but the quarterback stayed and the best receiver stayed. Arizona with the 20 defense with the new coordinator because the coordinator went to Washington. It's funny how the quarterback didn't leave. And then New Mexico with the 35 defense. Arizona should light them up here, I would believe. New Mexico normally doesn't score much and has a shit defense. This is the beauty of understanding the defenses. So Arizona is not going to have a problem against this defense, where they would against an Oregon or a Utah or UCLA last year. You know, you play the tough defensive teams, they're going to struggle. But when the quarterback gets USC or Colorado, he lights it up anyway. And for Bobby, LSU, USC. LSU 6.5, over under 62.5. LSU gave up 28 a game last year. USC 35. They get the UCLA coach who had UCLA's defense last year was an 18. He doesn't have the same players, so I don't know how much the coach can do. Maybe they go from 35 to 30. don't expect them to go from 35 to 18. That'll be a miracle. And USC, the new quarterback, probably the UNLV quarterback, who is very good. Again, it's all system there. LSU, new quarterback, but he's played a little bit. And again, this game's in Vegas. So, we got to see what LSU looks like. They always have a pretty good defense, although last year was a 28. Always with a good offense. Brian Kelly always has a good offense, and the quarterback's okay. He'll always have receivers and running backs down in Baton Rouge. They always have them. And USC, we know what their offense is going to look like. It's the defense. I don't think the defense shows up here, probably for either team. And Lincoln Riley has a way. Again, it's just the system. So don't get all excited when USC puts out 40 points here and go, oh, it was the best quarterback in the world. He's not. That's why I struggle with Caleb. If he's not in this offense, what's he going to do? He's going to look like Jalen Hurts at Philadelphia, and they lost 7 in a row last year. Lost to Tampa in the playoff game. Yeah, where's Jalen Hurts? So it's a big system thing. That's what you got to realize. So look for a lot of points in this game. BC, Florida State. We see Florida State on the 24th against Georgia Tech. We see them again here, laying 21.5 and 51.5. That line hasn't changed. BC's got their quarterback back, but he sucks. And Florida State goes to Uglia Buglia for some reason. How the hell they won to him, I don't know. Florida State with a great defense last year, 16, a great coach. BC with a 30 defense and a weak quarterback. So, it's hard to go with Florida State with Uglia Buglia. How long will the coach, this is a great coach. I don't think he stays with them too long. How they got him, I don't know, because they should have saw he sucked. At what point did you see him good at Clemson or at Oregon State? He got benched at both places. So, for God's sake, what are you seeing that says, oh, yeah, I got to get Uglia Buglia? I mean, you could have got a freshman 5-star who would have been 10 times better than Uglia Buglia. Anyway, that's what we have. That's all your games. So we talked variables yesterday. So how much do we take from last year? Well, Florida State should have a good defense. Georgia should have a good defense. James Madison, the coach, leaves, so they're not the same team. Troy gets the Notre Dame offensive coordinator. They're not the same team. So you've got to scout all the teams to understand Ohio State got a lot better. Georgia, better defensive coordinator. Look for them to go crazy. Iowa, same team, strong defense. Iowa State, maybe they score a little more because the quarterback was a freshman, and he looked pretty good at times. He got better as the season went on, so they might be a little more explosive. UTSA loses Frank Harris. Syracuse gets McCord, the Ohio State quarterback. That's not a positive. UCLA loses their coach. So these variables are changing, so you don't know what you have. So you can't just look at the coach from you can't look at the team from last year. You can't look at the team from last year and say, oh, they're much better. Oh, this is what we have. Even Ohio State got a lot better. Utah gets Cam Rising back. Oregon gets Gabriel. Oklahoma loses Gabriel. So there's all these variables have effects. That's why it's very hard to do a trend analysis in college. Not with all the coaches leaving, coordinators leaving, the NIL, the new quarterbacks. It's extreme, and the graduation. It's extremely tough to do a trend in college. You just have to know, okay, what do we got? Georgia, okay, great defense, great coach, quarterback looked good. They lose Brock Bowers, okay. They're loaded, and they're always loaded. Alabama gets a new coach. So you can't trend Nick Saban. He ain't there anymore. That's my point about trends. I can't trend Alabama. Yeah, they always had a great defense with Nick Saban, went to the wide open offense. It cost him. He didn't win any championships with that new style. He should have beat Michigan last year if Milrose doesn't fumble, but he does. And off you go. So that's the problem. And that's what you have to look out for and learn is getting the new variables for college. So that's your college updated lines. Baseball, we can look at one more time. San Diego, 2 units. The Mets over 8, 2 units. Detroit under 6.5, 2 units because Skubal is going, but we'll see if he's good or bad against Minnesota. I'm not counting on him. Frisco, game 1 over 7, 5 units. We got KC under 8, both aces going 7 units. Houston, 3 units. The White Sox under 7.5, 3 units. Pitt under 8, 3 units. And the 49ers in game 2 will play for 3 units, the 49ers. From the first game, we're going over 7. Second game, I like the Niners there. So, you like the overs when you're really not sure of the pitching. You're going, well, they're both okay. They're both kind of crappy, but I know there'll be runs in the game, or I know there won't be runs in the game. So when you look at KC, you got ace against ace. You're not going to score a lot. Detroit's ace against Joe Ryan. I don't think they're ace, but he's a good pitcher. Will Skubal shut him out or give him 1 run? Then it should go under 6.5. Detroit's not hitting anymore. Ricky Green, their center fielder's got a hurt leg. He can't run. Well, what the fuck is that? Is this a new injury, or you knew about it and you drafted him anyway? These guys don't know how to pick players. Now they got a bunch of they got rid of the first baseman who was hitting like 150. And then this other guy was hitting like 110. He got hurt. And now they've got a few more 250 players. They still have this one guy, Henry, who's hitting 210. You're batting him third. What are you, crazy? Why is he in the major leagues? He should be in the minor leagues. He doesn't know what he's doing. Let him hit 300. I wouldn't bring anybody out until they hit 300 in the minors. Then you can come up. Otherwise, I don't need a 230 hitter in the minors. What's he going to do in the pros? Hit 180? Do I want a 180 hitter on my team? Shouldn't even be in the lineup. Shouldn't even be on the team. I'm still wondering why they keep in the shortstop. Javi Baez should be gone. I would renegotiate his contract just like Jordan Love wants, right? Yeah, I want more money because I figured out and I look pretty good, so I want more money. Well, fuck you. You got a contract. Play it out, and then we'll go. Or we'll decide, let's see how you are this season, and then if you still have it, then we can renegotiate. But why can't they renegotiate Javi Baez's contract to like $1 million a year? He hits 170. What is that? He got lucky and hit a home run the other day. What? The eyes were closed and you happen to hit it. The blind squirrel effect. So why can't you renegotiate his contract? So if he does good, he wants to renegotiate it up. But if he does bad, like Deshaun Watson, sorry, you can't renegotiate. I'm not going to renegotiate. Okay, fine. See you later. Do Russell Wilson. Say, fine, you're gone. Sean Payton wants to win. So what does he do? He gets rid of Russell Wilson. He doesn't worry about the money. These are all billionaires. So he gets rid of Russell Wilson because he knows he can't win with him. He won't do what he says. If you're not going to do, it's Sparky Anderson. It's my way or the highway, or Vince Lombardi did that a lot. You don't want to play my style, go play somewhere else. He wanted his type of players like Sparky Anderson. That's how Lombardi won. He had like 80 players in and out until he found, Willie Wood and Bob Jeter and Dave Robinson and Willie Davis. I mean, these were, they were there. Bart Starr, good quarterback. He wasn't that good, but he was. He was a 15th round pick from Alabama yet. It's funny how the Bart Starr and Joe Namath and Ken Stabler were the good quarterbacks from Alabama. Now all the new ones suck, like Hurts and Tagliabue and Mac Jones. So now he's on Jacksonville, Mac Jones. What's he going to do there? He's going to suck there. He sucked at New England. Maybe he just go back to Alabama and play. Anyway, that's what we have. Let's see. Daria must be working. So let us look. All right, I think that's sports. NFL we'll talk about tomorrow. It's a Sunday. I've been going through my guide. I'm on the Mac right now. So when I go to the lake, I grab my book. I sit at the lake, nice walk a little bit, and then do some reading and get educated. All my stats are updated, so I can see who the new coach and new quarterback are for any team that got a new coach, quarterback. I've moved everybody around from their conferences, so now USC is in the Big Ten, not the Pac-10, which doesn't exist except for Oregon and Washington, Oregon State, Washington State. So all we can do is wait. So that starts in a month. Again, this just like today, there's no picks. I will go through it just like I went through today. Will be my regular show, a regular class for the NFL, and that will walk through the games, but no picks. And then you got to either buy the picks on teaserking.com, purchase picks like you've been doing for the last 15 years, or come to if you want me to teach you, and we go through all the ins and outs. And here's my picks. So it's option 2. It's 25 for college, 25 for pro, and it'll be probably at least 2 classes a week. So in the NFL, it'll be Wednesday because we got a Thursday night game, and then it'll be Sunday morning. I might have to throw a Friday night game in, a Friday night show in, to talk about the bets on something, because Wednesday might not be enough time to make the bets. It's good for the Thursday game, but the Sunday games by Wednesday is tough. Usually, I like making my picks Thursday, sometimes Friday. So I'll probably do a quick Friday show, but college will be Friday and Sunday, Friday and Saturday morning. Like now, they tend to have Thursday games or Friday games, which I could do a short class. It's maybe my Wednesday class. Now I got to keep them separate. I said, well, I can maybe do a quick pro one Wednesday to cover Thursday's game, and then a quick college Wednesday to do Thursday and Friday games. And then the big one Friday night to go over Saturday's college, and then maybe a Friday to go over Sunday's college, Sunday's pro. So we'll work it out. But that's the thing. So for $25, you get the class with the picks and the explanation and the breakdowns like I do in baseball now. Or you can buy the picks the way you've been doing it on Teaser King. And you won't get me the class with the picks you won't get, right? That'll be private. So you get this like I just did, but you won't get the base. Like here, I'm giving you the baseball. The baseball I just gave you is how I'll do football on the class. So just a little change. A lot of people didn't like it. They bought the season. Here I'm giving the picks out in class. And I understand that. And I knew what I was doing, and I know what I'm doing this year. So I'm not going to do that because, it's not fair to the people buying. And I won't do the 5-team and I get 20%. I'm not going to do that. If you're a regular buyer, we can talk about it. But if you're not a buyer, if you're not a customer, there's no way I'm going to do it, because then I'm exposing my picks. Even if you go 4-1, you don't pay me, you got my 5 picks. So I'm not going to do that. It's got to be a customer, and who's already bought the picks, then you already got them. Then we can talk strategy. Well, you can always talk strategy with me if you're a customer, right? So you bought the picks. Now you want to ask me some questions, of course. And my email is it's on the Teaser King website. So you'll go to the picks. So let's look at that. So here's the website, Teaser King, and then you go to purchase picks. And that's what it looks like. It says PayPal, and then you want to buy the week, it's 75 pro, 75 college, or 100 for both. So if you want all the picks, it's 100. I give you a break. Then it's 4 weeks is only 200, 200, 300. And the whole year is $5.99, $5.99, or $7.50 for both. And then here's where we get into the class. So the college picks on YouTube is only 25 per week versus the 75. So you do save. And you don't have to be in the class. You can get that. What happens is this is a public YouTube, but there's a box for private, and then I would put in either the link or I would put in the email, and then only if you paid and I get your email, can you see this? So that's 25, but you don't need to be live with me. You can wait till Saturday morning and look at my college picks, even though you paid and you didn't watch the class, but you'll always be able to get the class, right? Because your email is in there. So you can watch it Saturday morning. Oh, who did he like? If you don't have time to watch the class, but it'll be much briefer than my normal class. Pro will be a half hour to just be here's the games, here's the picks, boom, boom, boom. Same thing with college, just like we went through. It'll be here's the lines, here's the injuries, here's the quarterbacks, here's the picks, here's the reasons. So college might be a little bit longer because all the games. So you want the college class or the pro class. They're both, you can't buy them both. You can buy them both, but you can't buy, there's no discount. So you got to buy the college class for the college, 25, or the pro for 25. And I'll get an email and I'll say, oh, I got his email. I'll do a private and add your email to it. And then I'll just talk like I just did for baseball and or basically football, but adding, okay, I like this team here and I like this team there. And that's what we'll do. So that's what you have. So you sign up for college and or pro, but it's only $25, not 75. So there is a nice price break. And again, you don't need to watch it live. You can come back and watch it, at your leisure when you're available. And I'll try to figure out the best time that more people are available. And again, it won't be that long. I'll try to keep it brief, but strong. So that's where you are, Teaser King. And then if you go to the home tab, so then you get my email there near the bottom, hrobin77@gmail.com. That's to get to the YouTube page. People saying nice things about me. I am the king. And then my YouTube and my Twitter and how I pick. So that's Teaser King, and that's where you'll go for this. And, this way, if the guy pays for the whole year, I can't be giving the picks out for free. He's like, well, what the fuck did I pay for if you're giving them out? That's why I'm not. So anyway, I get, I get a lot of full year picks. My one guy who normally does the year just emailed me. I don't know. I offered him payments. So if let's say you want $750 for the year, but you don't have $750, which I understand. So maybe you can do 3 payments of $250, or you can do a 4 and a 350. That's fine. I don't mind that. But usually I need at least one payment before the season and then one. So in other words, it'd be usually a payment like August 1st or August 15th, let's say half, and then the other half by September 15th. And then you're all set for the year. So it gives you a little leeway to pay it. But I understand that. So I give you a nice discount on the year. $750 is a joke because at $100 a week, we got 20 weeks of pros, would be $2,000. You're getting it for $750. Anyway, the class is pretty good. It's just $25, so it's very reasonable. And we all know how I pick, so that's good. You get my history on the sites. You can see how I did last year. And you got all the picks anyway. I mean, go to my Super Bowl YouTube, and you'll see I took Kansas City, and I took Kansas City against Baltimore, and I took Kansas City against Buffalo, and anytime Mahomes is the dog. You see all that. It's right there. I mean, I'm saying it, and then I post it, and you look at my history. Yep, Kansas City in 9. So, yeah, honesty is very important to me. Trust is very important to me, and respect's very important to me. So that's what I try to do. We talked Mark McGuire yesterday. 5 times he said brics, gold-backed currency in October. So pretty good chance that's it. We see how the derivative game is played. It went down to 23.50 gold, but then now it ended at 23.87. So the derivatives were done, but they all knew the U.S. was doing it, so they let them do it, and then everybody bought instead of at 24.50 at 23.50, and then it knocks the price back up. It'll be 24 one day and on its way up. And I think eventually we won't get these downs. It'll just go up. All the BRICS countries are buying gold. They have to buy gold. The dollar is going out. So all these countries with the dollar they're fighting to keep the euro and the British pound and Swiss franc in circulation, but it's all going to get killed because they're all printing to death because they're all George Soros, Keynesian MMT guys that believe you can just keep printing the money and there's no problem, which is bullshit. What could happen in Germany and Rome and France and England and Venezuela and Zimbabwe and on and on and on. It doesn't work. It can't work because the more you print, the less it's worth. And again, inflation very quickly is printing the money. It's money printing. Too much money printing devalues the dollar. That means the dollar is worth less. And that means it doesn't necessarily mean prices go up, but if they can, they will. Because if nobody wants to pay, I went to a grocery store the other day and, cereals were on sale for $4.50, the big 20 ounces, because nobody's buying them. So you can't just force prices up. If the market says no, you can't do it. So that's why I'm a little leery on prices and I'm very, very leery that they measure inflation on price increases. That's not how you do it. For sure not for 1 year. Maybe you go back 5 years, but that's not how you measure inflation. All you can do is look at $21 trillion printed, $130 trillion with these petrodollars, which are no longer needed. And basically, you're blowing yourself up with sanctions in China and sanctions in Russia, almost forcing them to go to a gold-backed currency. So you're blowing up. Obviously, George Soros is behind it all. Who else? Why would you blow up your own country? What kind of idiot does that? So that's where we're at. So they're doing it on purpose. So the dollar's going out, which leaves gold as your only lifeboat. Even if you bought a Rolex and a Montana rookie card, you still got to move them into cash. Gold is cash, as is silver. So 1945 or 1950 in Germany, Nazi Germany, the war ends. What's the barter? Cigarettes. Cigarettes became the money in Germany because they had to pay for the war. So they hyperinflated the Deutschmark after hyperinflating the Reichsmark. So in the 20s, you hyperinflate. In the 30s, you have no money because you don't have gold and you don't have U.S. Or British pounds or French francs. So you don't have any of that. Your money's worthless. So Hitler goes and steals all the gold and all the paintings to get wealth. And at the war ends. He's now they don't have the gold anymore because the U.S. takes it. And all of a sudden, you want to go to the grocery store. It's cigarettes. Cigarettes became the barter, which shows you it's whatever is in demand is the medium of exchange. So again, on a gold-backed currency, it's not going to be. You're not going to need gold in your pocket. You'll get a dollar like this, but it'll be gold, not silver, right? That'll be it'll show that it's a gold back dollar, and that's what's going to happen. The euros, the euro's buying gold. I think the central banks, Germany has a lot of gold, and France should, and Italy should. England doesn't have any; they're fucked. Canada doesn't have any; they're fucked. In the U.S., I don't know what we have. If we're not buying it now, we're idiots. But the money in our Fort, in your Fort Knox, is rented out. It's sold. It's not ours. So they call it rehypothecated, which means somebody else owns it. And my example was, if I sold this card to Bobby Bo because he likes Mahomes, but I still have it. Bobby, when you come into town, I'll give you the card. It's not, it's, I still have it, but it's Bobby. So I rehypothecated this card to Bobby. So it's really his card, but I have it in possession. So it's really, I can't inventory it. It's not mine anymore. It's his. That's the gold in your Fort Knox. It's there, but not the US's. It's all China's. So how much gold do we have? None. We might have gold there, but again, they don't show it. Maybe China says don't show it. I don't know. We seem to take a lot of orders from China. Biden certainly does because he gave him $30 million. So Biden does whatever he wants for money. He puts himself and money first and then the country. This Trump assassination attempt, obviously done by George Soros. He obviously paid the FBI and the Secret Service to look the other way, to let the guy get on the thing. Stupidest plan because you got a guy who can't shoot straight. That didn't make sense. But this is the problem. This is the end. When they start doing assassination attempts and wars, the country's done. So we're done. So that's why you got to get out of gold and silver, because your dollar is not worth anything. So we understand that. Anyway, that's really the point. So you're trying to you're trying to understand it. So the key you got to understand is you can't just print the dollar to nothing. And $21 trillion is way over printed. Again, any dollar that's not gold back, meaning it needs an anchor. So anytime the dollar doesn't have an anchor like gold or silver, it goes to zero because the corrupt politicians print it to zero. Again, the problem with the government is they're all corrupt. They all take money from the lobbyists, and there's just no morals in it. None of these guys should be in government. The whole situation needs to be changed. There needs to be like a football team. You hire a coach who can coach, and you hire an offensive coordinator who's been an offensive coordinator before, and you hire a GM who's been a GM before. And that's what you need. You got to hire a president who knows how to run a company, because you're not going to have, an experienced president. And then you need all the senators cannot be corrupt and should only serve one term, as well as the Congress should only serve one term. And if they take this lobbyist money, they go to jail. That'll on that shit. The problem is they're the ones who vote for it, so they won't vote themselves out. But that's why they're corrupt. So we need honest, honorable men who want to represent the country and need to be picked, not voted on. The vote thing's ridiculous. Nobody knows. You're going to vote for Kamala Harris. This is your best choice. And then Trump. Why don't we get two candidates who actually know, are kind of organized, good management people? I mean, that's all it is. Like the person running GM or Ford. Well, not Ford. They always suck. Person running Mercedes, for example, if they're American, okay, he can run a company, he can run a country. It's the same thing. And then all your people, lobbyists, are gone. The dollar must be gold back. You must have free trade. You must have laws that stay that you can't change, and you must have a small military that defends the country, does not go to war. That's what Russia basically has become. They don't really attack anybody. And China is pretty much defensive. They don't really go out and attack people. And that's what you have. So that's the difference. China and Russia are smart enough to buy gold and know their currency is strong, like the Romans, like the French, the English, all these countries that were good had the gold back, had the gold standard. And as soon as they went off of it, they go to war for some reason, and they end up going broke. I love how they go to war. Why did Napoleon go to war? I mean, he's going to attack Russia. What are you going to take? What are you going to do with Russia? Why do they attack Russia? What do they want? You're the leader, the French, with Napoleon, or England or Spain. What are you doing? Or the Romans? Why did they take the gold and silver out? You're the Roman Empire. Nobody can fuck with you. You beat half the world. Why are you still at war? You got to get the Germans. Why? Let them live in peace, and you live in peace, and negotiate with them. What did you invade them for? Nobody wants to be slaves. That's the biggest factor. So knowing that, that's why we look at gold. It's because we know the dollar, you cannot have a dollar not backed by gold and it's going to survive. We're at the end. It's 99% gone. I call it 100% gone, but because I'm anticipating that we know what's happening and they got to keep printing for the debt. And you can't default on the debt because you owe other countries, right? So if you ever want to run another bond because you are short and you're in debt because your budget's not balanced and you need money, who's gonna give you money? You just defaulted. I don't trust you. So you can't really default on the debt. You can't pay it, you're fucked. That's why you need gold-backed currency and make the value of gold $50,000, and then you can pay off the debt. But they're not smart enough to do that. They don't have any gold. And the U.S. is basically gone. So as we see it, and just look at the Romans. I mean, the problem I have is people's disbelief of what's going on. Well, the dollar's going, oh no, we're the reserve currency. We have the petrodollar. The petrodollar is gone. And we're not the reserve currency anymore. It's ending. It's like the Titanic sinking, right? You hit the iceberg, it's sinking, but it hasn't sunk yet. That's where we're at. So the dollar is gone. It's worthless. Tuna's $5 a can. Cheerios $5 a box. What else do you need? That's the problem. They're holding oil down. So I filled up yesterday at 340. I've been filling up about 330. So it was up a dime, but a lot of the gas stations are up. But the price is held down. California's so high because they're taxing it to death. They want you in electric vehicles. So if you want to drive a car, you're paying $6-7 for gas. It's all tax. It's not the oil. It's the California sales tax. That's probably 30%. So I don't know. They're trying with these electric cars and solar panels. What the fuck is that? That's just stupidity. But it's all from you. It's the dollar's gone. And without the dollar, you don't have a currency. You don't have a government. You don't have an economy, and you don't have a country. So we're really in bad shape. And there's no way to stop it. The only way to stop it is to buy the gold that you're selling so cheap. I don't get the whole logic of these derivatives in comex trying to keep the price down. They should be going the other way and buying them because the demand for gold's huge, and buying them to let the price go up. You're the ones suppressing the price. You're doing these stupid derivatives down, but you're the only player, and it's a world market now. So the rest of the world is buying gold. Well, I could understand if you're buying gold, you're keeping the price down and buying gold. That would make sense, but you're not. So why don't you do call options that you want the price to go up and make some money on it? Although it won't matter because it's priced in dollars. So that's the real problem. You've got a bunch of idiots in charge. This Secret Service director, it's the same all over. Mayorkas, it's the Treasury Department, it's all these guys. It's the same as the Secret Service director. They're all a bunch of bumbling idiots. That's who's running our country. That's why it can't be elected, or these nominations are a joke. You've got to have people that have the background for it. So you want to hire somebody like me with a master's in finance and economics to run your Treasury Department. You want somebody to run, who knows what they're doing for airlines, because the guy there is an idiot. The border, they're idiots. The DOD, he's an idiot. The FBI is corrupt as shit. The CIA is more corrupt. They're all corrupt. The senators and congressmen are all corrupt. They get the lobbyists pay. What the fuck? So we'll vote for, you paid me $1 million, so fine. Who do you want me to vote for? That's not what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to lead. This is, I'm voting for the best for the people. They have a good life here, not the other way around. And that's where it's all broken. So you need to have people selected like a football team. I need a good offensive coordinator who actually knows how to do it. And if he doesn't do the job, he gets fired. The Georgia defensive coordinator gets fired because he didn't blitz Alabama enough. Get him out of here. We'll get a new one in. And that needs to happen. This Secret Service gone. Mayorkas gone. The DOD gone. The Treasury guy gone. You're inflating the money to zero. You're fucking up the country by $15. You're gone. You're fired. But yet they don't fire anybody. So you could have Larry Moe and Curly doing it. It's basically what you got. They're getting the payouts, the insider trading. They're propping up the stock market. The stock market's not that good. And they're propping it up, so it makes it look good. Anyway, so that's where we stand. It's a nightmare. It's run by incompetence, and it's all George Soros doing. He's the marionette. He's Don Corleone. So he puts in his judges and his politicians. He fixes the elections. Kamala Harris should get like 5 votes, and she'll get 30, 40 million because it'll come from George Soros, because it's still a fixed election. They haven't changed it. They haven't made it so it's not rigged. It's just like this whole assassination attempt on Trump. Nobody watched the guy get up on the roof except for the people, but all the CIA, FBI, whoever the fuck was there, police, Secret Service, didn't notice him or let him go on the roof. Let him shoot. He shot 8 shots till they killed him. No loose ends. That's why they killed him. But what is that? Why did you let him do that? Well, because we're corrupt. George Soros wanted it to happen, so we all laid down and let him do it. That's what we're doing in the Treasury. Well, George Soros wants us to go to zero, so he's printing the money. The money's worthless, but we don't even have gold. How the fuck can we be this stupid? It's not that hard, folks. The dollar printed is worthless. We saw it with the Nazis, World War II, printing the counterfeit British pound, and they're going to dump it on London and devalue their whole money. It would have been worthless. Germany did it, or London did it to France in 1795. They printed a bunch of money, dumped it on Paris, and it was worthless. Too much supply. And you don't fucking know that. You don't know how the Roman Empire took their gold and silver out of their money and became worthless and say goodbye to Rome. I mean, what are you, all a bunch of fucking idiots? Well, MMT says we can print as much as we want and there's no consequences. Says who? What are you fucking talking about? MMT? Who says MMT works? Jim Reichertz? Yeah, he's a fucking government attorney. He's an idiot. He doesn't know anything. Obviously, if this is the way he understands it, this guy should be in jail for trying to say MMT works. Because you're lying. You're Madoff. These are no better than Madoffs. Everybody in the government is all Madoffs, especially the Treasury people. And this is the problem. So if Trump anoints Larry Fink as his Treasury guy, it's just like putting Madoff in as your Treasury guy. And if Trump's this stupid, It's all over. Larry Fink's the most corrupt guy in the world. Doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to do ESG and solar panels and electric cars. It's all him. And the environment. What the fuck is that? There's nothing wrong with oil, nothing wrong with gas to heat your house and everything. So anyway, without money, we're fucked anyway, and you have to have it backed by gold. There's no, we'll come out with a new one that won't be backed by anything. Well, then you're in the same boat. Look at Zimbabwe. Yeah, 5-6 times they hyperinflated till they finally got smart and did gold-backed currency. Venezuela keeps coming up with new currency that keeps, where they got like 16,000% inflation, and they're measuring it wrong. They're measuring it by prices. You can't print the money. It only is good for the government because they keep it, but that's it. So it's just bullshit. So keep that in mind. Never forget that. If the currency is not backed by gold, it's basically worthless. Yeah, it's fun to have 100. Okay, so you get $100 bill now. Go to the grocery store. You can't even fill up your cart. But in the 70s, if I went to the grocery store with my family, you'd fill up the whole cart and it'd be $50. You'd have 2 cartfuls. Do you see anybody with 2 cartfuls anymore? Fuck, you barely fill it. It's $100. You're like, fuck, what did I get? So keep that in mind. Understand the concept. It's like a football team without a defense is not going to win. AKA the Lions. No defense, no win. You kept the defensive coordinator, fired the GM, or whoever kept them should be fired because they're incompetent to not see the defensive coordinator is not good. You fired the other defensive coordinator, you hired him with this idiot, and you still give up 30 points a game. So you can't win without a defense. That's the bottom line. So there's always the variables that you're looking at. Anyway, that's about it. Good luck on baseball today. College football we talked about. NFL next Thursday is the Hall of Fame game, but they probably won't play Caleb because he might get hurt. Yeah, but he won't be good. If you don't play him, he can't be good. You got to let him get against pros, not, well, we won't play him until the first game. Maybe we shouldn't play him in the first game. He might get hurt. Why don't we wait till the playoffs? Yeah, and then we'll play him. But we'll only play him a quarter because he might get hurt in those games because they're rough because these are the best defenses. It's insanity. These coaches, the 100-pitch count, the 95-mile-an-hour fastball by every pitcher, the 5 days, and they're all injured, right? All these pitchers are still injured. What the fuck's going on? Oh, they're doing spin rates, but it fucks your elbow up. Maybe don't do that because nobody can stay healthy. What are you doing? So it's a bunch of morons, basically. All right. Anything else? I hope you're okay. Greg and John, what's the best card game? I love your questions, Greg and John. They relate to nothing, but okay. Nick, Luke, hope everybody's well. Bobby, where the fuck are you? Anyway, so we're about a month away, and then we can start getting into the real sport, football. And that's about it. So feel good. Have a good day. Watch your sugars, please. They're killers. So we don't want to have too much sugar. And anyway, yesterday was a fast day, so I'm just waiting to eat, which I think I'll go swim and then I'll eat. And that's about it. So www.teaserking.com. I'll see you tomorrow about 11 o'clock-ish. And we'll go from there. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.